I'll begin my speech in 3, 2, 1. Good morning and hello, ladies and gentlemen, the honorable judges, timekeeper, moderator, and also our fellow debaters. My name is Kaisa Sabita, and I am, as the Prime Minister of the government team, would like to support this motion that this House would heavily tax manufacturing corporations that automate majority of their workforce. In my speech today, I will first define the term of the debate, and second, I will give my main argument about how we should support this motion, and finally, I will provide a conclusion. Without further ado, let's moving on to the first part of my speech. Within the status quo, in this era, in this 21st era, technology are already developing in many sectors, such as economic sector, education sector, public transportation sector, and also public infrastructure, and so on. And because of that, many industry has already used automation program to support their work and to speed up the process to provide a good quality product. And to use this automation, it needs a lot of money or funds to afford the facilities and to maintain those facilities to be operated in the industry. And we are strongly support this motion because if we are gonna switch to automation, if we are gonna use automation to for the corporation, it needs a lot of money, and the government would cannot afford those massive amount of money just to support a company. So this house would be the best solution to put a heavy tax on the industry who use automation to support and also to support the industry and also supporting the government. The definition of the motion, we have two keywords. First, automation, which means the implementation of technology, computer programs, robot, or any other processes to create a product with minimum human input. Secondly, tax, which means a strain of demands or a contribution that comes from the worker's income for the state or for the country. And third, we have corporation, which means the industry that produce a product. So this house, the motion would mean that this house would put a heavy tax that uses technology instead of that to put a heavy tax for the corporation that uses technology instead of human resources, so that the technology can still be maintained and also support to be operated in the industry. And we agree with putting tax to the corporation that are already using technology because it can help them to protect or to maintain those facilities and also to support the government. Moving on to the second part of my speech, which is the main reason why we should support this motion. Firstly, this tax can help the industry to maintain those facilities. Ladies and gentlemen, in the industry, if the industry are prioritizing technologies to produce a product, it will need a massive funds and massive income to maintain those facilities, to maintain those technology. And to find this massive amount, it wouldn't possibly come from their workers, right? It will the government would give in help funds for the company to be operated with this technology, and the government cannot always cover those funds. So to produce a high quality product, it needs a lot of money to maintain those product facilities. So to give a mutual impact, the corporation needs to pay extra tax for the government, and the government will receive those fair tax to produce better facilities for the citizens and for the society. So if we are gonna letting the company to use technology instead of human resources, they would have to pay extra tax because the government cannot always cover those funds to support their corporation. So this means that putting a high tax on the corporation can give a mutual impact for the government and also the company. The impact of putting a high tax, the company facilities will still be maintained because they utilize facilities that are provided by the government, and also the government can receive a fair tax from the company so they can produce a better facilities for citizens to be utilized. In summary, giving a high tax for the company, for the corporation, will help both government and the corporation. Secondly, giving a high tax reducing the number of unemployment that happen in the society. Ladies and gentlemen, in this day, there are many industry and factory that already uses the automation to provide their product. And with this high amount of technology, with this high number of technology that are already utilized in the industry, those human resources that are provided in the society would be wasteless, would be useless because the industry are already switching to technology to produce a product. With putting a heavy tax for the company, for the corporation that are that automate majority of their workforce, gives a warning to for the company to reconsider using technology, because the industry cannot always depending on technologies. If we keep depending on technologies, those human resources that are provided in the society would be a waste, and they cannot find a job because the company has already switching because most company has already switching to using technologies for their workforce. Think of it, if we prioritize human resource, the human resource is much better to maintain those technologies, to maintain those technology facilities, because technology cannot replace human ability. If if we prioritize using human resources, humans ability for the company, the facilities will still be maintained, people can find a job, and also to provide a better quality of the product. So the impact of putting a high insect an extra tax for the company is for them to consider to utilize human resources instead of depending on technology. And it will lead to opening a job fields, and also the tax are utilized perfectly to support the company, and also the facilities of the company, the technology facilities of the company will still be maintained because of the human ability. And even the human ability, the human resources can support the company, can contribute to support a company to produce a better quality product. In conclusion, we believe that putting a heavy tax or giving a beneficial impact for the company, and the company will receive a mutual impact from the government, because the company will pay fair tax for the government, and the government can provide facilities to be utilized by the company and the society. So it will have a mutual impact for both company and the government. And also giving a higher tax for the corporation is to let them utilize human resources and consider the company to not depending on technology for their work. In summary, putting a heavy tax to a corporation, giving a good impact for both the government and the company. And that is why we are proud to propose. Thank you.